Hello and welcome to Muy Criollo. On this channel, we explore traditional Ecuadorian cooking. Today we'll be looking at a classic dessert popular throughout the Spanish-speaking world, flan. This is a relatively easy recipe to execute once you know the techniques behind it. It's going to take a while though, 2 or more hours to make and another 5 to 6 hours resting in the fridge. Luckily the ingredients are cheap and available in any supermarket. Let's start. First, lay out some ramekins. Do it before you start anything. I have these and I think they're the perfect size. Flan is a rich dessert and I think these smaller ones do good portion control. I also have these taller ones meant for souffle. They'll work too as long as you don't fill them all the way. Or any mold or cake pan, as long as it has a flat bottom and won't leak. A simple Pyrex like this will do just fine. Ceramic or oven-proof glass works best. It's okay if you don't have the perfect flan mold, because if you're like me, you end up losing most of them anyway. Now make the caramel topping. We're going to need 1 cup of sugar, and that's it. Simple. We're going to melt this over medium-high heat. Make sure to shake it pretty often so it melts evenly. Don't use a spoon to stir it. After a few minutes, you should have something like this. Continue moving the pot until all the sugar has melted, and lower the heat once it starts to get dark. You don't want it past this point, because it will just burn. Once the sugar is completely melted, we're ready to pour this into our molds. Now, gently pour the caramel into the molds. This will cool very fast once it leaves the pot, so work quickly. Let gravity do the work of moving it around the mold for you. And just pour in little bits to cover any holes and gaps that might remain. Be kinda cheap with this stuff. You can always go back later and add more, but right now you need to make sure that you have enough for all your molds. And remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. A tiny hole won't show up in the final product. Next, in a medium-sized pot, we're going to heat up 2 cups of milk, 1 cup of heavy cream. Next, we're going to add 2 cans of condensed milk. This is key to getting that creamy texture we're looking for. Though, if you wanted to make Dulce de Leche Flan, you can use 2 cans of that instead. Some cinnamon sticks, and a little bit of vanilla extract. You can add some vanilla bean if you're feeling bougie, and 1 more cinnamon stick. That's very important. Now, we're just steaming this milk, so all the flavors get to know each other. Stir it pretty vigorously so the condensed milk doesn't sit at the bottom. Alright, that's ready. The cinnamon has really infused with the milk. It's a great aroma. Once it's steaming, you should turn off the heat and get ready with the rest of the ingredients. Get a mixing bowl ready and crack open exactly 3 eggs and 2 egg yolks. Believe me when I say I have tested all sorts of flan recipes, and that is the perfect ratio of egg to egg yolk. Just put those away. Now we're going to add 1/4 a cup of sugar. This actually helps to stop the egg whites from scrambling when we add the hot liquid to them later. Just give that a whisk. And then this is optional, but you can add a splash of either rum or aguardiente. Right now I have aguardiente, so that's what I'm going to add. Now it's time to temper our eggs. If you've never tempered eggs before, it's super simple. We're just adding hot liquid to the eggs gradually as we whisk. This will stop our flan from turning into scrambled eggs. The key is to whisk very fast. Bigger whisks are better for this. And go ladleful by ladleful and just gently stream it in as you mix. It's actually kind of fun. Well, I get a kick out of it at least. Whew, what a rush! Is that kinda lame? Yeah. Am I gonna apologize for it? No. Now, once you've added in enough ladles of hot liquid, you can add the egg mixture back into the pot, and continue whisking. It's the same process, just in reverse. Now, before we can pour it into our molds, we have to strain it. This isn't truly necessary if you did a good job tempering the eggs, but not everyone is going to. So this way, no one will ever know that you did a bad job. Here you see no scrambled eggs. That means I did a good job. And just pour that into your ramekins. Make sure not to fill them too high. While we're filling these, let's talk about cooking temperatures. You can cook flan at a number of different temperatures. Personally, I like to cook it at 375 degrees for about 1 to 2 hours. The most important thing, more important even than the temperature you decide to cook the flan at, is to make sure that you have a bain-marie with water going almost to the rim of the molds. I preheated this roasting pan with the water already in it before I put the flan in the oven. And now I'm just adding more water to make sure the water goes halfway up the ramekins. Now be very careful when you're putting this back in the oven to make sure you don't spill hot water on yourself. Check the water level every hour and add more if necessary. Now, after 2 hours, I'm checking my flans, and they're looking ready. You'll know they're ready if you put in a clean knife and it comes out completely clean. I don't care how jiggly it still is. If that knife comes out clean, take them out. Now let's carefully lift these out. Now when we unwrap these flan, we see that they're perfectly cooked. Completely smooth on top with no hint of darkening. On the other hand, this one poked out of the water a little too much. See the difference? This is why it's very important to refill your water bath every hour. Now before we can unmold these, they have to sit in the fridge for at least 5 hours, or they'll just turn into flan puddles. After they've set for a few hours, it's time to unmold them. Just run your knife around the edge of the ramekin, like so. And then it's time to flip it over on the plate and release it. I actually find this to be the hardest part. I said, run your knife around the edge of the mold, just like so. A few times if necessary. And then, out it comes from the mold. I said, out it comes from the mold. There we go. Beautiful. Your own flan. Better than most of what you see in restaurants these days, if I do say so myself. The hardest part about this dessert is honestly just getting the recipe right. But I did the years of testing for you. So, you're welcome, Internet. Until next time, buen provecho. I'm really happy to have been able to share one of my favorite desserts with you all. I love flan, and as I mentioned before, I've made this so many times. In fact, I think one summer I made it 4 times in the space of about 1.5 months. I kind of, at one point made so much flan that I lost my taste for it. But after a few years, I started eating it again. And it's one of the few recipes that I just have completely memorized at this point. But as always, recipes are in the description below. If you liked this and want to see more of me struggling to unmold desserts, then give me a subscribe. I appreciate it, and I'll be uploading every week on Thursdays from now on. Unless there's some major assignment or something else comes up. I know flan is something a lot of different people have recipes for, and the recipes are all very different, so if yours is different, and maybe yours isn't as rich or it's a little eggier, please let me know in the comment section below. Now, my cat is bugging me to feed her. So I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!